Classical Sicilian. Aki 56 from Chile. Okay, let's try d4. Let's move this here. Okay, d4, e6. So I can continue with putting another pawn in the center, see how he wants to play. This could be one of those Pierce defenses or Philidor, or just a way to get to a queen's pawn opening. So this is actually, oh no, it's a way to get to the French defense. That's what it is. So I can play the classical or the Winauer here. And he goes with c5. That's an unusual response. I think this loses a pawn. It's a gambit line, I guess. So take here, takes back. Yeah, he gets a little bit of development. I've seen this before. I just don't believe it's good. Ah, he didn't let me take. Maybe I took in the wrong order. Is that right? If I play knight to G or B, knight to B5, trying to round up the pawn, he can play E5, defending it, and I don't have the check. Sometimes there's a check here to pick up the E pawn, and my knight's kind of stranded out there. So where to with that knight? Whither will you wander, knight? I could throw in a check, but does that do anything? Okay, I could place my knight here on a4 to defend the pawn. And then he has the check trying to win my knight, and then I have c3 defending the knight and blocking the check, but then he can take on c3, and that looks kind of ugly. So I am just going to retreat and let him win a pawn back. And then let's get my knight out of the way, get it over here, and see if he wants to play something like e5. He does. So now knight to f3 comes with a tempo. He defends, and let's see. Let's put this pawn on a3. I want to play bishop to d3. And I didn't want his knight coming into b4, harassing that bishop. So I get that move in, and I'm going to castle. And eventually I'm going to play c3. That's my plan, to break up his center pawn structure. But let's get the pieces out first. Let's think, though. Let's see. If I play here, he might just kick it, and I can't retreat very easily because he can play g4. Let's see. I could try going for the sacrifice. Knight takes g4, pawn takes, bishop takes g4 with a pin and an undefended, well, the knight is just defended by the queen. So you'd get some pressure against that knight with the move like queen to f3. He can defend with the king. And I have another knight ready to hop in. So bishop here, pawn here, bishop back, pawn here, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. So the bishop is there, and then I have to follow up with queen f3 and knight here. I have to get in 2 moves, and he has time to organize some kind of defense, like maybe bishop back here. Yeah, I don't think it works. Okay, what else could I try? Knight to knight to f4. I think he will just take it off. Okay, so I will play quietly with bishop d2, and I am still going to play c3 here. Maybe b4. c3, pawn takes, bishop takes. My bishop looks a little bit loose there, but it's defended by my queen and attacked by his queen. And I'll have pressure on e4 with the bishop on c3, pressure on e5. So c3 he probably won't take, and if he doesn't take, then I'll take, and then he will end up with this isolated pawn, which that should be good for me too, I think. So I think this is okay. So he's probably going for a counterplay with F5 here. I don't think I have to worry about that. Let's go with this C3 idea immediately. So his idea was just to reroute the knight. Okay, let's take. I mean, this pawn on E4 is very securely defended, so that knight rerouting, I don't think it accomplished much. Takes with the bishop. Okay, let's take that off. Takes with the knight. Now, I do have a loose bishop here, but he's got two pieces he has to move before he gets an attack on it. So I have time to play rook c1. His knight is coming in here, 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 or here, or under my control. His other knight is coming in here, here, here. Yep, I think his main idea is still to try and get an F5 here. He's got the knights, both knights and the bishop, looking at that F5 square. And my idea is to actually retreat my bishop back to B1, where it's safe and looking out on the king side in any case. So. Okay, oh, he brings his queen over. So what is that about? Okay, now my bishop on D3 is safe, so that's not a problem. His bishop can come out to, okay, he's got control of that F5 square, I have to admit. That is true. Let's see, how about if I play B4? Pawn takes, bishop takes, and I'm hitting this knight and it's pinned against the rook. And maybe that'll relieve my congestion. I think I don't see a big threat over here on the king side just yet. Knight to F6, I can take it. Pawn to F5, I can take it. Knight to B3, I can take with the queen. Okay, so he does go with F5. So should I take with the knight first? Force him to exchange at least a piece. You know, one idea is that maybe you can push the e-pawn forward after I take. But can he really do that? If I take and he pushes immediately, I have knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes. He can do that. So let's take with the knight first. If he if he takes with this knight, yeah, then when he pushes the pawn forward, I have a check. Or we can play like this. He just keeps trading. That'll leave him with this weak, isolated pawn, won't it? Bishop takes, knight takes, or rook takes. Bishop here, check. Yeah, I don't think that helps. Let's just get rid of that attacking piece and go after his pawn. He comes out with the knight. So bishop here to go after the knight. I mean, he took with the rook. Let's see, I can think of chasing the queen away in some cases. I need immediate pressure on the knight, though. He has this knight F3 idea. If he ever gets a pin along the G file. So that's why I have to, and the tempos matter here, is what I'm trying to say. The tempos are important. Okay, yeah, that's a move with tempo. So he piles up on H7. I have to do that. H2, rather. Piles up on H2. I want to bring the queen in, but the knight is guarding the way. That's another reason why I have to immediately get rid of that knight. I could have played queen to... now I can play queen to g4. I couldn't have before. Now I can play queen g4. I'd also have bishop takes knight and queen to f3, unless he plays rook f8. So let's take immediately. I have a check on this diagonal here, and I have something on the back rank if I want it. If he lifts his rook, rather. So, what's the best way to proceed here? The check drives his king to the corner, and then over here to f3. I think that's useful. That check is useful.
Check.
Allows me to set up some back rank threats. And now is the queen on f3 where I want to put it? Yeah, I think so. Queen on f3 stops him from playing rook f8. I can still bring this rook into the 7th rank, and that might be interesting. And I can still stop this pawn if he tries to push it. I don't think it's going to be a problem just yet. May be a problem in the long run. Okay, so I want to get a rook into rook to d1. I might want to just take on a5 there at some point too. And I might want to play rook to c7. So I have some ideas here. Rook c7, queen f7 would be threatening mate. Which he can defend. It's not too difficult to defend at the moment. So, well, he's got to come up with a move here. If he pushes the pawn and I play rook d1, he just dropped his rook back. So that indicates, I guess, he wants to be able to move his queen. My queen was looking at the rook, so we can move his queen. He could put the rook on the g file too. So what's the best move here? Now let's start to. I like the idea of starting to threaten mate here. I could have just grabbed a pawn at that point, I guess. Maybe his idea was to play rook to f6. He plays rook f6, and I play queen b7, threatening on. So he just goes there. Okay, so this because of the pin, I have to keep defending the h-pawn with my queen. That's important. And also I can't easily oppose his queen by playing, say, queen to g3, unless I could put my king over here. There's no hurry to do that. Why don't I just go ahead and grab this pawn? I just don't see any big threats from black at this point. So why not grab that pawn? Well, that's a threat. That is a threat. He can try and mate me, or try and queen that pawn. And now I can just take it, right? Because he has no check, and if he takes back, I am. Oh, that's not true. Oh yeah, okay. The queen coming in as mate. I was thinking here he could actually bring his rook back and block, but as long as there's no check, I can just take that pawn. So he went there, so let's just drop back. So now maybe rook f7 is a nice idea here. So he goes there first. So I was just going to play with my queen here. I'm a couple pawns up. The queen trade should be good for me. Even if it does leave me with a doubled pawn on the king side, I still have an extra pawn over here on the queen side. And yeah, as long as there's no checks, I don't see any clever double attacks. I have 2 loose rooks, which is something to be concerned about. But oh, I'm also threatening mate on g7 as well as threatening his king. So I think this is pretty good. We'll see. How does he defend the queen? There. Okay, he goes there. That's a defense. And it's also looking at the back rank here. So how about I double my rooks and start to threaten his back rank. And just hope I don't run out of time here. He can just bring his rook back. Rook back to f8, I think, is the move to play here. And I'll probably start marching my pawn at that point. He goes that way. If he does that, I was thinking I would just pin that rook on the back rank. That's got to be good. So if he takes on f2, I can just take back with my queen. It's not really defended because of the pin. It's not really, his rook on f2 would not be defended by the other rook, since I can take with the queen. And what can he play? He moves his queen. Okay, let's take with check. His queen is hitting my rook, but I take with tempo. Then, yeah, where should I place my rook? You know, I could go to the 7th rank again. He has a check here. Oh, he has no check. He has to defend. Yeah, I don't like the idea of leaving my back rank open though. Let's just move the rook away from the queen. Okay, I'm down to half a minute. I should have moved quicker. Should have moved quicker there. Yep. Okay, now I'm starting to worry about the pawns. Let's make sure I keep my extra pawn or two. Okay, I'm defending the pawn, hitting his rook. And he attacks there. Let's defend here. 34 seconds. Let's go here. 37 seconds. It's nice to have that increment. Let's go here. Okay, he's piling up on my king side again. Let's unpin. He was threatening to take on h3 again because of the pin on the g file. Now he's coordinating his attack on g2 with the queen and the rook. He's harassing my queen. Let's hit his queen. Let's take his queen. All right. Finally.
Black resigns.
I think I could have won, although time is always an issue in positions like that. But I definitely had the winning edge there. Anyway, I'll upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.